My name's Alex Carter. I'm 42 years old, a U.S. Army combat veteran with 2 deployments under my belt. I have never been the kind of man who seeks out conflict. I've seen enough of it to last a lifetime. But sometimes life throws you into a war you never asked for, especially when betrayal comes from the one person you swore would have your back. I'd been married to Rachel for 14 years. We had built a quiet, simple life after I left the military. I started working private security, handling logistics, and training young recruits. She taught 2nd grade and always said she admired the discipline and focus I brought home from the service. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. I started noticing she was more distant, texting more, staying out late with vague explanations like teacher happy hours or book club nights. I wanted to believe her. But my gut, the same gut that kept me alive in places no one wants to talk about, told me something was off. The truth came crashing in on a random Saturday afternoon. I came home early from a security job and walked into our living room to find Rachel on the couch, curled up next to some guy. Some younger guy. Tan, bulked up gym body, sleeve tattoos, and a smug look on his face like he owned the place. Rachel stood up quickly, stammering, "Alex, I was going to tell you." The guy stayed seated, didn't flinch. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "You need to calm down, old man. Rachel doesn't want you anymore. I'm here to protect her now. Protect her. From me. From the man who carried her photo into hostile territory. From the man who rebuilt her deck by hand after a hurricane ripped it apart." That was the moment everything inside me went cold. I didn't say a word. I didn't yell. I just looked at him like I'd looked at insurgents before engaging, calm, measured, watching every move. He stood up, puffed out his chest. "But you think just 'cause you're military I'm scared of you?" I tilted my head. "You're not scared yet, but you will be." That was the last thing I said before I walked out. That night I made a plan. I didn't want violence. That's not the kind of war one fight anymore. But what I do know is strategy. I know how to dismantle an enemy from the inside out. I was going to take my revenge slowly, cleanly, and leave no fingerprints. Rachel and I still shared finances joint, accounts, credit cards, shared business licenses from a side project we started back in 2019. She never took the time to separate them. Rookie mistake. Over the next month, I executed my mission. I froze the joint business account. Legally, I had every right. She tried to file a complaint, but the paperwork had my name all over it. I'd handled the taxes. She couldn't even access the ledger. I canceled the family credit card, left her and her boy toy scrambling when their rent payment bounced. Yes, they were living in an apartment I was paying for. Not anymore. I reported the car she was driving as unreleased marital property. The repo team showed up on a Tuesday afternoon while they were grocery shopping, took the keys right out of her hand, and the best part? I sold our house. Yeah, you heard me right. It was still on the deed. She'd moved out and assumed I wouldn't touch it, but she never filed a formal claim. Sold it to a developer, made a clean $150,000, and bought myself a lakefront cabin in Michigan, peaceful, isolated, and 100% mine. 2 months later, I ran into them at a local bar. She looked tired. The boyfriend, his muscles weren't doing him much good now. He had that beaten-down look of a man who realized he picked a fight with a ghost hood, already won. He tried to puff up again. "You think this is funny, man?" I took a sip of my whiskey and said, "No, I think it's fair. Actions have consequences." He walked into a war zone unarmed. Rachel didn't say a word. She just stared at the floor, probably realizing what she'd traded me for. I left that bar with a calm heart. Not because I got loud, not because I threw a punch, but because I knew I'd used the one weapon they never saw coming. Patience, revenge. Doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes the strongest move, silence, paired with strategy. And sometimes, the enemy doesn't realize they've already lost until they're standing in the wreckage they created. My name's Alex. I'm a veteran. And I don't fight with fists anymore. I fight with precision, and I never lose.